Hi, I'm Caitlin. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my February TBR using my lovely TBR jar. So this has a mixture of my 26 and 2026 and my book bingo prompts from my journal. I have like a bingo board in my journal, so that's what the pink ones are, and then the greeny blue are my 26 and 26. I have already picked a few. I say a few, maybe like one or two from January that obviously I didn't film. But I thought, yeah, I'd probably not going to pick all of my TBR from here because I also actually have another little jar. This is a Sarah J Maas jar from one of the book boxes over the years with some just general prompts in there if I fancy, because I'm like, I feel like in January I've really been struggling to pick books in general, and then good books at all really. I think I may have had a 4-star so far in January, but it's obviously not a memorable one. My reading's been not the best. So I just need to get back on track to picking some good books, and these, I'm having like decision fatigue. And like I pick something off the shelf and I'll read like a chapter and then it's not what I want, so I end up putting it back. So yeah, this is my effort to actually pick some things that I will enjoy. So first I'm gonna pick, I think I'm gonna pick one of the 26 and 26, maybe two. How about I just pick one of each for now and then we'll see what I get and see where to go from there. Why am I not showing you? I don't really know what to pick. What colour have we got? So the pink one, I don't know if you can see that or if that's upside down. It was upside down. It's my prettiest book. Okay. Prettiest book. So I'm taking that to mean not just cover, like maybe sprayed edges as well, because I think there's like a cover prompt maybe in there as well. So maybe I should take this to mean prettiest book. I don't know why I'm looking here. So this side of my bookshelf is, don't quote me on this, mostly read, and this is unread. I moved them all and sorted them all out recently. So I should be mostly looking at this side, and then I think there's maybe like this half of this shelf is unread because it alphabetically goes on, but yeah, it's mostly this side that I should be looking at. And then the bottom 3 shelves are all my hardbacks. So I'm gonna say that prettiest is probably gonna come from the hardbacks. Okay, so we have 3 choices for prettiest book. So first I've gone with Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This is a slightly older pick for me because I have the full trilogy now. Of course I do, and I haven't started it. But if I remember correctly, the hardbacks are all printed and they are gorgeous. I think Margaret Owen also does the art for these. They do the writing and the pictures. So cute little signed book plate there. I do quite like the sprayed edge, and then like the actual cover. Let's put that back on. The actual cover is also very pretty. Next I then picked out The Marriage Narrative by Claire Can. This one is like a new Afterlight pick. That's gorgeous, and like the whole thing is very pretty. Like the printing, it's like a desk. I don't really think that the edges match the hardback, and even like the end papers. So that's pretty, and with it being February, I thought a romance would be fun. And then lastly I picked out Cold Wire by Chloe Gong, because the whole thing, like that is absolutely gorgeous. I love the blue and pink tones that we've got going on. And then I was right, this one also has a gorgeous hardback. So 3 quite different moods, I think. So dystopian, romance, and fantasy fairy tale retelling. I think for the sake of the prompt, it's more so between these two, because they're both like completely customized with the end papers and everything. And I think because it's February, I'm gonna go with The Marriage Narrative, which is a good start with a romance, I think, because I popped the prompt in there. But yeah, so the first on the TBR is the marriage narrative. Okay, so that was was that a pink prompt? Yeah, that was a pink prompt, which is like actual prompts, and then the blue is books. So we'll go for a blue now, which will be my 2026 TBR. Let's see if I get it right this time. Is that the right way around? It wasn't again. That was the right way around. And the book is Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. I'm just going to grab that second. I think it's towards the top. It's very pink, which I feel like goes with our February romance theme. We've got one cursed debutante, one exiled witch, one wild deal. So, oh, part historical, part fantasy, all top-notch queer romance. Many buzzwords in that sentence. It's the year 1814 and Miss Maylis Mitchellmore finds her entry into the high society of Bath hindered by a curse that begins with her dress unmaking itself at the ball of the season and ends with her life in peril. Surviving the attention of an angry goddess means seeking undesirable allies. I can't speak today. Means seeking undesirable allies, and few allies are less desirable than the brooding Lady Georgina Landrake. She might have murdered her father. She's probably a witch, and she's certainly bewitching. That sounds so fun. Okay, I remember purchasing this like a good... When did I buy it? Here we go, it'll tell me on here. 20th of the 9th, 2024. So, over a year ago. Yeah, finally time for me to get to it. But I think that's really lovely cover. And like, this is why I put it on my 26, because it's one that I overlook so much. But it actually, I'm really intrigued by it. Like, reading that back then, I was like, that still sounds great. And it probably would have just sat on my shelf for months if I hadn't picked it for this. So that was for my two main challenges of the year. Another one I have is a book club with my best friend. We pick a book every month and just the two of us read it. And then we have like a little chat about what we thought most of the time, if we remember. We're trying to be better about it this year and like actual pencil in a time when we can talk about the book, because otherwise we go months without actually talking about them and then forget what we thought. January didn't go too great because we picked a like KU romance, Kindle Unlimited romance, and she read it and rated it 1 star, and I just didn't read it because I was like, if you've rated it 1 star, there's literally no point in me prioritising it. So January's a bit of a write-off. But for February, we've decided to read Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott. I have this really gorgeous, I don't know if they're like, is it like a paint box edition? Is that what it's called? But like the cover wraps all the way around. I don't know if it says anywhere, but like the edges are blue, and then it has, I just went past one. It has like full page quotes and like illustrations on the inside. I think they're all the same. Yeah, it's all like the same illustration on every quote page, but it's still gorgeous. And it's just, obviously it's a classic, and it's something I'd never really been interested in until I watched the newest adaptation, and I fell in love. I cried so much during that, and I was like, why have I never read this? Why have I never consumed anything to do with this before? And neither of my best friends, she'd never read the book, so we were like, we're both gonna buy different pretty editions, or maybe the same if she feels like it, but we're both gonna buy pretty editions, and this is the year that we're gonna tackle this. I don't remember it being this long, but I think it's just because I've got the pretty large one. 629 pages. Okay, wow. That's fine. Totally doable. I don't think I've read a book more than like 400 pages this year. Yes, the Harper Muse painted editions, they're called. It's stunning though, so I'm very excited about that. I am also then doing a reading challenge with Chelsea from Not So Secret Bookaholic, who we've been friends for years, and whilst I've been like on and off of different social media platforms, we've tended to always try and do some sort of reading challenge throughout the years with each other, and now I can't find the document with it in. And this year we're doing like a TBR takedown challenge where we want to get all of our TBR down, and we've turned it into like a game with like a point system. I'll probably explain it. I might put it in its own video, or I'll explain it properly at a later date, but basically have like a main monthly prompt for every month of the year, and you get a certain amount of points for that, and then every other book you read you get points for. You get points for unhauling books, and DNFs do count, which is good. And we also get minus points if you buy books, so that's part of it, is to control the TBR by not buying books. And so far we are on the 25th of January and I've not bought a book yet this year, and that's really good for me because I would usually just buy loads. Being a bookseller I think doesn't help that because I'm just surrounded by it all the time. But I'm really doing well this year. I'm impressed with myself. But February's prompt is to reread a childhood favourite book. And I'm thinking, so I don't actually have my editions on my shelf, my copies. They're in storage because this isn't all my books. This is just mostly my unread, and then a lot of my read books are actually in storage because I don't have the room for them. So my editions of this series are somewhere in boxes, but I know I can pick them up from the library or I can borrow my friend's copies. So I'm going to be reading The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I've only read the series once, and that was like when I was 13, at the height of the Hunger Games craze. And I remember enjoying them enough that I read all 3 books back to back, and I never do that. But they weren't my favourite. Like, I enjoyed them, but I'm not a humongous dystopian fan, and I've always said that. I just think I prefer fantasy to dystopian. And then a couple of years ago, me and my husband rewatched the movies, because I'd never seen them like all together. And I was like, actually I'm gonna give these books a second chance because I really enjoy the movies. So it's finally time for me to read them. And I didn't then read Songbirds of Ballads and Snakes, is that what it's called? Or the new one, or is that the new? Did I just mix the two titles together? I think I did. I think I just mixed both titles. Anyway, the other 2 books in the series, the President Snow sequel, President Snow prequel, and then the Hey Bitch prequel, I haven't read them, so I'm going to reread the original trilogy and then read those 2. Probably not all in February. It takes me a long while to get through a series, but I do want to just at least read the first Hunger Games book. The 4th book onto my TBR, I think I'm going to pick 2 more prompts, and I might get them from my like just general prompt jar. These are like a mixture of prompts that I think I wrote them earlier in the year and never really pulled from it. Oh, I've got 2. Which one do I put? This one probably. I never really pulled from the jar in the end, so it's just been sat there. I think that's the right way around. Special edition. Okay, that's good because I have quite a few. I am subscribed to Fairy Loot currently. I have their like triple book box. Triple book only box with a adult fantasy, a romantasy, and a young adult fantasy book every month. I think they mostly do fantasy. They might sometimes do dystopian sci-fi, but it's mostly fantasy. So I've picked 3 books again for this prompt because I just have too many special editions. So we've got Cold Wear by Chloe Gong again, To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast, and I think this was this in a low rate? No, this was the November romantasy pick. And then We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark, which was the December romantic pick. Okay, this is a world where prisoners are hunted for sport. So I think once you're in prison, you're entered into this scheme where rich people can hunt you and like put you into challenges and things, I think. So if you commit any crime, you have a life sentence in the prison. And Raven Thorne, our main character, her younger brother gets sent to prison, and she knows he won't be able to cope there, so she commits a crime to also be sent. And just before she does that, she almost ends up spending a night with a random stranger who turns out to be a member of the prison guard when she gets there to the prison. So yeah, we're following her. Obviously there's going to be a romance in there between the 2 of them. I don't know whether she's planning to break out of the prison or whether she's just trying to stop her brother from getting killed in the prison. But but I've heard amazing things about this one, and it is gorgeous. It doesn't give the vibe that I thought it was. Like, this edition is very pretty, but it's also quite heavy on the like romance fluffy side of things, where I think the book itself sounds quite dark. That is the gorgeous hardback, which again they give different vibes. Like, this is quite dark and moody, and then that feels a bit like lighter. I don't know, but yeah, that one intrigues me a lot. Again, Coldwire, we've discussed Coldwire. And then the last one I picked then was We Who Will Die, which is, I think we have vampires in here. Ruled by the vampiric emperor, life in the perilous Thorn district is a constant battle for Arval and her family. So when offered a chance to save her brother's life, she takes a magical vow. It will bind her to do the impossible, kill the emperor. But to get close to him, she must enter the Sundering, an arena where only the fastest, strongest and deadliest survive long enough to be selected for the emperor's elite guard. As the stakes get higher and secrets emerge, she quickly draws the ire of Primus, a powerful figure charged with protecting the emperor, while also finding herself dependent on the emperor's sadistic son, Rorik, to hone her growing powers. With Arval's destiny deeply twined with these two vampires, she must unravel the conspiracy that will change everything she thought she knew about herself, but only if she can complete her mission and survive the arena. I'm going to go with To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast, because that one I think sounds the most intriguing to me. This is too much like Hunger Games, like with the arena and things. And I don't think I'm feeling a straight up futuristic dystopian, but I can do like the fantasy dystopian kind of thing for To Cage a Wild Bird, I think. One more. They're all pink. Maybe pinks just aren't my thing today. Okay, this is green. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's upside down. I'm sorry. Reread to finish a series. Okay. Reread to finish a series. I think there's only one thing I can pick for this. And that will be The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. And I have the full trilogy now. I think it's just going to be a trilogy. I have 3 of the series anyway. And I read this, absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star. And I don't tend to rate like romance stories 5 stars often. I think most of the 5 stars I rate are general fiction or fantasy. So for it to be a romance heavy story with a 5-star is rare for me. Absolutely loved it when I read it. It's like a fantasy romance retelling of You've Got Mail. And we follow Heart and Mercy. So Heart is like a warden kind of thing for their world, and he stops so when you die, he stops your spirit from escaping and turning into kind of like a zombie creature almost out in the wilderness. So he like patrols, Marshall, that's it, he patrols the wilderness for these spirits so he can reunite them with their bodies and then take them to Mercy, who is an undertaker, and then she performs the undertaker duty. But they, for some reason, have like a really strong dislike for each other. Like, they don't really know why, it just kind of, they just rub each other the wrong way and started on the wrong foot, and now they can't remedy that and they just don't get on. And it's been years, and Mercy's taking over the family business of undertaking from her dad, and Hart is dealing with a few things too. So he writes quite a personal letter, and just signs it, like just sends it off to a friend. He doesn't really send it to anyone, and they have a magical postal service, so the post just goes to whoever it's meant to, kind of thing. And the letter ends up going to Mercy. And so they begin this like correspondence where they don't know who they're writing to, but in real life when they see each other they still hate each other, but obviously they're talking to each other by post kind of thing. So yeah, we have that kind of, it is kind of miscommunication, which is my least favourite trope, but it's also very sweet. I really love the world. I love that we have such like a rich fantasy world, but we're focusing on the romance. Like, I really enjoy that. And it's not really anything I'd read before, this type of romance or fantasy world. So I thoroughly enjoyed it when I read it the first time. And for years I've been saying I want to reread it to read the rest of the series. So it's finally time. Very excited. And that's quite an interesting prompt, I think. So I'm intrigued by that. So how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including the Hunger Games. Maybe I'll do one more because I'm having fun. And just so I have a bit of choice this month. I also have a few like proof copies I need to read, so I should probably be thinking of those too. Okay, more pink. We have got seasonal TBR jar. Right. My seasonal TBR jar is August. Is a summer seasonal TBR jar, not a current seasonal TBR jar. So I don't really know what to do about that one. Okay, we're gonna change. Okay. Is that upside down? Oh my gosh, I cannot pick it straight. That's the prompt. Okay, romantic plotline. Thank you, TBR jar. We got there eventually. So this one is actually another reread. This is the month of rereads because there's three rereads I'm going to be doing. But we have First Time Caller by V.K. Borison, and this was one of my favourite books of last year, and the sequel, And Now Back to You, comes out in February at the end of the month, and I really want to reread it because, not because I've forgotten the story, but just because I've really enjoyed this. And yeah, I think now it's the perfect time actually. I could have also picked this for the read to finish the series prompt, but yeah, actually I don't even know if number 2 is the end of the series, so maybe it wouldn't have worked. So yeah, we're gonna go with First Time Caller. Also look at this edition, it's the Works Sprayed Edge edition, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I really hope they do a matching one for And Now Back to You. I haven't pre-ordered it because I think they're gonna do one, but they haven't released it anywhere that they are. But they better do, because this is stunning. And I want them to be next to each other on my shelf. Think of how pretty that would be. But yeah, so that is going to be my final prompt then for romantic plotline. So it's a mostly romance focused TBR ready for February, which is what I wanted out of it. And I think having like a more of a set TBR is what I need, because I struggled in January with not having that and then floundering and not knowing what to read. Feel free to give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see me yap more about books. It's pretty much all I do around here. But I'll see you again in another video.